I love the Olympics. I absolutely love them. The reason I love the Olympics is because I love sports. I love the competition. Maybe I'm just a reality TV fiend and I haven't discovered it yet, but I love the stories, the competition. I don't care if it's tiddlywinks or whatever. Like, I will dial in for the Olympics. I keep track of every medal match. Right, it's my Super Bowl. I'm there with the app every day, like, oh, this shit's going down tonight. Need to make sure that I make time to watch the ice dancing, right? Like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I am plugged in for. And so I am very emotionally invested in the penises of the ski jumpers. I realize that this is probably not the direction that you thought that initial sentence was going to go, but there is a huge controversy in ski jumping that involves penises. So if that's your thing, lock in. If it's not, lock in too, because this is a wild story. And it requires an intimate knowledge of ski jumping, but suffice it to say that there is an investigative report saying that ski jumpers are trying to cheat by making their dicks bigger. That is what's happening. This is an actual sport controversy where the head of WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Association, I believe is what that abbreviation stands for, that is what they do, is being asked about whether they're going to investigate the potential penis enlargement of various ski jumpers. This is an article by Philip Buckingham. I'm sure it's one of the most intense topics, one of the largest topics he's ever covered. Thank you to him for writing this article, but obviously this has been covered by multiple outlets. I believe the initial report was broken, by German newspaper Bild in January on the eve of the Winter Olympics, and subsequently addressed by the World Anti-Doping Agency, not association, the president Witold Banka during a press conference. Right. Why would a ski jumper want to make their dick bigger? Outside of the obvious general public appeal, there is an actual competitive advantage that can be gained, like a really significant competitive advantage that can be gained through doing what they're doing. And the idea here is that they inject something called hyaluronic acid. This is used for people that are vain, or I don't want to say vain, maybe they just want to make their dick bigger, right? They inject hyaluronic acid to make that happen, but you have to inject it every 6 to 12 months or something to maintain, let me see how they put it, increase its size. That is how The Athletic in the New York Times has put it, increase its size, okay? And the increased size, this temporary increase in size, would occur right before they get scanned for their 3D suits. All right, I'm talking about the 3D, the suits that they wear when they're ski jumping. If you've never seen ski jumping before, this is a video, like a podcast video, something or other that we're looking at. They're wearing these really tight suits. There's an obvious advantage if, let's say, that suit, when you 3D scanned it, was a little bigger. Because the whole point of the sport, as you can see, for those that have never seen it, is you jump from a really high point and then you try and go as far as possible. Then obviously a contributing factor to that is the speed that you get going off the jump, the thrust, the push you get off kind of the lip of the jump to cover that distance, and your form in terms of making sure you catch as much air, as much air as possible to fly the whole way. But the reason the suits are so important is because I don't know if you've ever seen these psychos that go like skydiving in wingsuits or whatever. And if you put a bunch of material between your legs and your arms, you can kind of fly around for a long time. Okay, and that's why the suits are really, really heavily regulated in ski jumping. You get a 3D scan at the beginning of the season. And that suit, right, is basically latex fitted to the 3D scan of you. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different thought processes that have gone through my mind since learning that was how this process worked. To be honest, I never really thought about it that much, but it makes sense. What if you just decided, like a UFC fighter or something, to cut weight after the suit was measured? I don't know if there's any sort of thing to stop that. You have to maintain a similar weight or you can't compete, or I don't know. Right, but you get this 3D scan of the suit. You got to wear that suit. So why are they injecting their dicks with hyaluronic acid? Because it gives them more suit. It gives them more suit. Now, previous Olympics, I think it was some Norwegian coaches got suspended for a couple of years because they were adding extra stitching to the crotch area. But it seems that a little extra fabric in the crotch area is the most important point on the entire suit to get a little extra fabric. Right? Those coaches were adding some stitches and kind of making it a little looser right in the manhood area. But what if you could just get that naturally? Or make it appear that that would be there naturally? You basically go into the 3D measuring, all hopped up on hyaluronic acid, walking in there like a horse, get measured, and then you leave. Not only do you get a much looser suit, the people in charge of the 3D measuring, maybe word gets around that you're swinging an absolute hammer, right? I imagine that's not the number one perk here, but it's definitely, two birds, one stone. But you get 3D scanned, all hopped up on hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid goes away, thus leaving extra fabric. A pocket of extra fabric where that hyaluronic acid was supposed to be. And that extra fabric obviously allowing you to be able to fly farther. And if you're like me and you're thinking, well, how much of a difference can a little dick fabric make in terms of how far you can fly? 2 centimeter change in the suit. According to Frontiers, in some scientific research that they've done on ski jumping, which is obviously a very scientific sport at this point, a 2 centimeter change can change the jump distance by 5.8 meters. That's the distance between the gold medal and not even being on the podium at all. The distance that is up in the air here, the distance that is up for debate, is the difference between winning a medal, not winning a medal, winning gold and not winning a medal, being relevant and being irrelevant, whether you decided to inject hyaluronic acid or not. So obviously this is a pretty serious controversy. Dr. Cameron Kareem, I just needed to include this quote. It is possible to achieve a temporary visual thickening of the penis by injecting paraffin or hyaluronic acid. I forgot to include that quote earlier. You're welcome. So that's what they, the actual doctors and actual sporting controversy are talking about ski jumpers doing this. And I would imagine that probably more of them are doing it than we would like to realize. No specific athlete's been accused of the practice, but WADA has vowed to investigate if it is presented with evidence of wrongdoing. Including in their powers, typically reserved for tackling the use of performance-enhancing drugs, is the ability to ban substances that go against the spirit of the sport. And I think we'd all agree that giving yourself male enhancement in order to stretch your suit out is against the spirit of the sport. Now, Oliver Nigley, whose name scares me to say, the Director General of WADA, said, I'm not aware of the details of ski jumping and how it can improve. If anything was to come to the surface, we would look at anything if it is actually doping related. We don't do other means of enhancing performance, but our list committee would certainly look into whether this would fall into that category, but I haven't heard about it until you mentioned it. The president Witold Bonka said ski jumping is very popular in Poland. In fact, in the normal hill competition, because I'm an Olympic sicko, I know that Poland won the silver medal. So I promise you I'm going to look into it. But as of right now, all the information we've gotten is that they are just going to look into it. The Bild report said that this was something that they believed people were doing, or that the unnamed sources or whatever are saying people were doing, but no actual names were named. And ironically enough, a German ends up winning the gold medal. Was this because of particular male enhancement performances or not? We don't know. Right? And there is no actual athlete that has been banned for injecting hyaluronic acid to try and gain some sort of advantage. But I think according to that scientific report, when you've got these guys jumping like over 150 meters here, that 2 centimeters of extra fabric can add nearly 6 meters to your jump. That this is something that's actually worth paying attention to. And funny, haha, dick jokes aside, this might be one of the most obvious rounds of cheating going on at the Olympics at all. Because the whole point of ski jumping is being able to fly farther than the other guys. And if you've got a little extra fabric, you're going to be able to fly farther. But it almost opens up more questions than answers provided. Obviously, the Bild article does that almost by design with not actually naming anybody. But I feel like there would be a lot of strategies, this being one of the more intrusive ones, to try to actually be able to get a little extra fabric on your suit. All of which I'm assuming is banned under the credence and law of ski jumping, but nonetheless an incredibly interesting, intriguing, an above the fold sports story going on today about male enhancement that might actually help you out with ski jumping. And I guarantee you, after reading this article or watching this video, ski jumping will never look the same to you, just because you'll be looking down.